Colm Flynn is the man who is part of the reporting in and around the Vatican right now as the Papal Conclave has begun its deliberations. They started to make their way through in the past hour, and he joins us now from the Vatican. Colm, obviously, let's not get down to the who is next, but give us an idea of where things have moved between the Pope's death a couple of weeks ago and where we are going into the conclave. Have things changed in terms of who we think might end up being there?
Well, you know, Paul, as they say, according to canon law, which is the law that governs the entire Catholic Church, the running of the institution, that says that any baptised male in the world could be picked as the Pope. So technically, it could be you. But that hasn't happened since the 12th century. So it will come from the College of Cardinals. But, you know, so much has happened over the past couple of weeks. Even for myself as a journalist covering this, I think I'm the only reporter in the world who was in Buenos Aires in Argentina, the Pope's home country, standing at the spot where he was born, speaking to his childhood friends, the people who worked closely with him, his family, and then flying back to Rome within a few days reporting on his passing. We had the days of mourning when people reflected on what was a complex legacy, you know, celebrated by some, condemned by others, and now very much all the attention, the world's attention has shifted to who will be next. In fact, you know what's funny, Paul? When I was walking around yesterday doing interviews to different networks, all the TV cameras have their wide lenses on like this, where they get a good shot of the Basilica. Today, when you walk past the cameras, like you see at a football game, the huge big zoom lenses, because they're all focused on that small chimney right on the top of the Sistine Chapel, the most closely watched chimney on the face of this planet for the next few days.
And right on cue, we take that live shot, and I tell you what, the seagull in the background, it is currently world famous. G'day to it and all of its mates. Now, Colm, again, as we've discussed before, for the cardinals that are there, they have to be under the age of 80. Many of those cardinals were appointed by the previous pope, and the assumption is that from a theological perspective, that someone in his model is most likely to come out with the majority. Give us an idea of how many people are in that room, how many people will take their first vote in about 2 and a bit hours. Give us an idea of the makeup of that room.
Yeah, this morning they had a Mass inside the Basilica behind me called the Mass of the Holy Spirit. And, you know, this is an election. I know you're just after coming out of election season there in Australia. But what's different about this, of course, is that it has that strong spiritual element. And we make the confusion. Sometimes we say it is the Holy Spirit who chooses the Pope. That is not the case, because when you look back at history, the Catholic Church has had some terrible popes. But we hope that these men are guided by the Holy Spirit. So that Mass today, the cardinal who led it, Giovanni Battista Re, he said, "Cardinal brothers, let us evoke the Holy Spirit that we get his strength and his wisdom to pick the right person for the Church and for the world." In around 2 hours' time, there will be 133 cardinal electors locked into the Sistine Chapel. Now today, they're only doing one vote to kind of gauge the temperature of the body. Are we on the same path? Do we have a consensus, a communion? We will have smoke this evening around 7 p.m. local time here in Rome, but we're expecting it to be black. Now again, who knows? Tomorrow they can have up to 4 votes until they pick the pontiff. And that can go on 3 days, 4 days. We expect, looking at recent conclaves, like the one to elect Pope Francis, Pope Benedict, Pope John Paul II, they all lasted around 2 days. So we're thinking it could be around 2 days this time. But, as we spoke about before, Paul, the added complication is that Pope Francis, in an effort to truly reflect the global Catholic Church in all its diversity, has picked cardinals from the furthest reaches of the planet, places like Mongolia, South Sudan and Papua New Guinea. So not only do these men not know each other as well as cardinals would have traditionally, but some come from more liberal, progressive countries where that will be where they want to put an emphasis. Others are coming from more conservative, more traditional societies and cultures, and they will be the values that they want to see reflected in the new Pope. So I think it's a difficult thing for these men inside when they're trying to make a decision.
Yeah, just a yes or no question, because I've got a little problem with your microphone there. Just double checking, is there any cardinal who's just turned up from Afghanistan?
Now, I think, yes, your great cameraman here is trying to fix the microphone. I think this is someone trying to, the evil forces. Oh, it fell off me. That's what happened. You know what? We're live, so I will persevere and I will hold the smallest microphone in the world. But you know what? Actually, I met the Cardinal from Iraq 2 days ago on the street, Cardinal Sacco, and I was actually over interviewing him recently. I was in Baghdad, I was in Erbil, and just when we talk about, Paul, the different cardinals having different points of views, I mean, for someone like him coming from Iraq, where the Christians have been persecuted by ISIS and so much over the centuries, you can just see when you meet these people problems that we, thankfully, in our country sometimes don't even realise exist. When I met the bishop from Kenya, he was telling me, oh, in our country, we have a big problem with polygamy. People entering the Catholic Church who have 4 or 5 wives. What do we do when we christen them? We also have a problem with witchcraft in certain very rural parts in terms of people who are born with special needs and disabilities. And so it's a global church, and it's been reflected now at the moment. I think that's why it's all the more fascinating. Paul, be honest, does this look ridiculous, me holding this tiny microphone?
No, it looks very masculine. There's no question whatsoever. You look fantastic as always. But consider yourself booked for tomorrow night, and we'll make sure there's gaffer tape that locks the damn thing down. All right, mate? Lovely to see you. Good on you, Colm.
We got through it. Thank you so much. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you, Colm. Colm Flynn is his name. He is with the Catholic News Network. We'll check in again with him this time tomorrow night.